see that. All right, the House passed H.R. 1 last night, the hugely controversial For the People Act. It's going to impact every single American, starting with the midterms in November of 2022 if it passes in the Senate. The final vote in the House late last night fell on party lines 220 to 210. And joining us this morning to talk more about this is Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett. Congressman, good morning. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. It's actually Burchett. Birch like the tree, and
Birch,
like I just at breakfast.
Sir, I apologize. I just asked my producer because this is your first time on Wake Up, so I apologize for making that error. It will not happen again.
You're good, Rob. Thank you. Thank you. You're fine. You call me whatever you want to call me. I'm
no.
Here, brother.
It's Burchett from now on. I know you are against
Burchett.
Help you.
Jeez Louise. All right, Burchett, it's Congressman. Right. Now we just went viral. I apologize.
How about just call me Tim? Is that good enough?
No, I'll call you Congressman.
Congressman, some 85-year-old guy down here. They didn't hear the gun go off. Usually, I don't want to say Congressman. I just keep walking.
I am already looking forward to your next appearance on the show, and we haven't even started this one.
If Congress was the NFL, we'd have a bunch of 90-year-old quarterbacks. It's just, they're not putting the best players in, obviously. But go ahead, brother.
That's right. Okay. I'd like to talk about this bill that passed last night, right along party lines. No surprises there. It's a bill that's being packaged as a way to make it easier for Americans to vote. But this bill is really all about establishing permanent Democratic majorities in Washington, isn't it?
That's correct. I think the one thing you need to ask yourself, if the 2020 elections were the least corrupt, perfectly run elections in the history of our country, then why did the Democrats rush to push an 800-page bill that didn't go through the proper channels? You have to ask yourself that big question, because obviously they saw some opportunities there, and now they're taking them.
Yeah, another part of the bill that I don't think that everyday Americans are aware of right now is using taxpayer dollars to fund future elections. Again, starting with the midterms, which are right around the corner now, meaning more ads, more text messages, more phone calls, things like that. Why do you think they're trying to sneak this into the bill right now as well?
Well, obviously, they're trying to penalize our fundraising through this, and then they capitalize on it by this scheme. It's like a 6-to-1 match. Can you imagine the people from Tennessee are now going to be funding Nancy Pelosi's congressional race? The one complaint I haven't heard, people don't call me and say, Tim, we need more money in politics. No, they're saying, Tim, get the money out. But now the taxpayers are going to be paying their own dadgum money for it. It's ridiculous. It's arrogance at its best. Here's what I think's happening. Pelosi knows, and her people know, that they're going to lose big in 2 years. We know that.
Yeah.
The trends are showing that. And they're just abandoning their middle ground people, their moderate people. And those poor men and women are good folks. They generally think like I do. They're just under a lot of pressure and a lot of threats from the Democrat leadership. And they're going to sacrifice those people so that their hardcore left-wing, left-based Marxist folks can stay in power. And they're going to try to push every bit of garbage they can out in the next couple of years. And this is just the start of it.
Congressman Burchett, the situation with making Puerto Rico a state and the District of Columbia a state, that's also being wielded around. We've heard about this for years and years. It could become a reality now. And the goal here is obviously to give Democrats a majority. This would mean, ostensibly, it would mean 4 new Democratic senators if both became a state. But the situation with D.C., it was never meant to be a state. It was always supposed to be independent from the states. So is it even constitutional for Democrats to try and push this?
Absolutely not. But I think what you're seeing now, the Democrats don't really pay much attention to the Constitution. All they care about is getting reelected and preserving their power, which is wrecking this country with these massive deficit spendings and overreach of our constitutional boundaries.
All right, so H.R. 1 moves to the Senate. That will happen ideally, possibly right now, today. The majority's there, razor thin. Kamala Harris, she's the deciding vote. But do you think this thing's going to pass the required 60 votes to beat that Senate filibuster? Does this have a chance in the Senate?
I think it has a chance, but I think we're going to see it go down in flames, and therefore they've just sacrificed a bunch of moderate Democrats, hardworking people that in their Congress. Again, it shows the selfishness of our leadership, Speaker Pelosi and the rest of them. They cannot answer these questions. They give them their talking points, which are just on these broad parameters, and it's, to me, it's just disgusting, and the rest of the country finds it that way too.
What's fascinating too, in 2019, a watered-down version of the current bill did pass in the House. It was easily rejected in the Senate, but that was before the pandemic. And I think that, you know, with early voting and some of the measures that were put into place before the 2020 elections, they were put into place because thousands were dying of the coronavirus. So we skipped going through state legislatures, doing things the proper way, the legal way, the constitutional way, just to make it possible for people to vote and not put themselves in harm's way. And that was the goal. Now Democrats are trying to continue that forever, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's nationally run elections. They've taken the power away from our locals. In Tennessee, we don't have any problems, but yet they're going to fix it. They're going to put Washington, D.C. Fixes on East Tennessee values, and it just doesn't work. They're doing that all over the country. And when they nationalize things, it's you look at when the Marxists take over in any of these other countries, they talk about a national. They nationalize things. They nationalize energy. They nationalize medicine. Now they're nationalizing our elections, and they're doing away with some very good laws. They're stopping the local folks to have any input whatsoever, and it's just this national board, and they say it's nonpartisan, but of course they're going to be the ones selecting it. So there's nothing nonpartisan about it, brother.
Well, you can bet, Congressman, that we're going to be talking about this bill a lot here on Newsmax, trying to make people aware of what is in it. It is stunning. We could talk for an hour about some of the details that are in this piece of legislation that is upwards of 800 pages long. Congressman Tim Burchett, thank you so much for coming on with us. By the way, just so you know, I enjoyed this more than most interviews. So thank you.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate it. And Rachel, or I guess I could call you Randy. How about that? And then we just call it even.
Yeah, she would. Rachel, you'd answer to that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Anything.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Congressman, thank you. Come back and see us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, we're gonna check in with Randy right now. She's got more on what to watch for today.
I think you were Randy.
I think I
was Rachel.
You know, it's funny because during the commercial break, just so you know, at home, I was talking to the producers. We'd never had the congressman on, so I said, "Give me the precise pronunciation." And you know, there's 435 members of Congress, so sometimes you know you miss things like that. And we thought we had it.
Well, from now on, as he said, birch like tree.
Yes, like the tree.
So you won't forget.